Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome back to the castle. So, today, as you can see, we're going to work on the courtyard, and as the general idea to keep this place reasonably lore-friendly is to have it as a Minutemen headquarters. Clearly some training is going to get done here, so we're going to use the only really available open space to that end. So, first thing we're going to start off building here is a small firing range. After all, we've got to turn these farmers into crack shots somehow. So, starting off just marking out where I want the furthest right, I suppose, edge of this to be. The idea being, obviously, I don't want it to overlap with the doorway there, which is also going to be the entrance to the armory, so, well, it makes sense to have a firing range reasonably close to the armory. At least that's the theory, anyway. So, just a couple of prefabs, which is something I don't normally use, but I want to do something a little different, so... Dead simple, these are just corridor prefabs, so they're open at both ends. And we'll just snap them straight together, and then we'll group select them into the sort of the various cubicles for standing and shooting at down the range from. Once I get that lined up. The ground here inside the courtyard is a little bit, well, it's a lot all over the place really. It's not level, so hence why we've got a little bit of rubble and stuff clipping through there. But rather than have it lifted up and try and come up with some way of accommodating the fact it would then be effectively floating, you know, putting bricks under it or something like that, I thought it'd be better off sinking it down and just making it look like the debris is sort of swept in or blown in or whatever. And I think it works, it looks alright. We're just going to close off these front edges, just using shack half walls, and just group selecting them straight in. This one in the centre was quite happy to sit a little further back, which would have been very nice. It would have looked a lot neater and a lot more like it's part of the main structure. Unfortunately, the other two didn't want to play ball, so it ended up looking out of sync, so hence I'm redoing it here. I'll just drop this last one in there. Nice and easy to get these lined up. Fortunately, these half walls, half-height walls, or whatever you want to call them, are reasonably cooperative. So, I'm going to have to close off the main firing range bit. Not exactly the longest range in the world, but you know. I should say for the record, being English, I don't have a huge amount of experience with shooting ranges beyond what we occasionally see on TV, so I hope this comes out as a reasonable result, given the resources I have to work with as well. So the idea here is to stop people just walking in front of where they're shooting, which seems logical. On the other hand, they're going to need access to it to set things up and tidy up and so on and so forth. So that's what the gate's for. I've gone with a chain link just on this bit, basically with the theory being that anybody who happens to be using the shooting range will hopefully see anybody who attempts to come through the gate before they shoot them. Well, that's the theory anyway. In terms of the actual game mechanics, of course, it won't be an issue, but in terms of the lore of the build, that's the mentality I was working on. A bit of rug and pillar to get these junk fences that we're going to transfer over to now into place onto something a little bit more solid towards the end of the range where they're actually aiming. It'd take considerably more effort to miss at the end they're standing than compared to the end they're aiming at, so that's where any misses are going to come, so put something a bit more sturdy to contain any stray laser fire, I guess. So first thing I'm going to do is just grab it by the rug and line things up. It doesn't matter that it's floating because we're going to have to adjust it anyway, it's inevitable. I'm actually aiming from a line between the corner of the prefabs there and just inside of the entranceway there. Obviously it's a bit difficult to create straight lines with these things, or reasonably straight lines. So it's a little bit of trial and error. As you can see there, once we get things lined up, we'll just grab it with a pillar. Fortunately, it, for some bizarre reason, chooses to select the rug over everything else, which is great. And then just allows us to sink it straight into its final position. So, it looks pretty straight to me. Grab a post. Group select the rug. Nudge it down a little bit. I've actually not used the invisible rugs this time. I've just used ordinary clear ones because they were going to end up just below the surface of the ground anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And it's just easier to see them, funnily enough. So why make life any more difficult than you have to, really? So just this last gap, obviously the trunk fences are now too large for us, so a couple of half shack walls. These are extremely soft, so we're just going to literally sit them in the same space. For some reason they seem to ignore each other's collision fantastically, so once we've got those to the right size, just a little bit of group select to get those in the right place. And there we go. It obviously doesn't stick out quite as much as the rest of it does, but it's just closing up that last little gap, so function over form, I think, though. But up on the top of the walls here, obviously we're going to have people moving around up here, people keeping guard, whatever else, plus whatever else I decide to do up here. If you guys have any suggestions, I'm more than open to hearing them. I'm coming up a little short for something to do up here. But yeah, obviously anybody walking around up here is not going to want to catch a stray laser beam. So, cinder block walls. There's a few different options in the menu there for them under USA. We're going to go with the tallest option. Give them as much leeway as possible. These are just about tall enough. If you really try, you can look over the top of them and see down, but if you're stupid enough to stand at the end of a shooting range and poke your face through a hole in the wall, then maybe a little cynical. But there we go. That should keep our Minutemen up there safe. So over here, I'm going to do something that's somewhat similar to a build I did quite a long time ago over on Spectacle Island. On that one I made a boxing gym for Kate as a kind of companion home. So obviously in there we put a boxing ring, and we used well, actually I put two, to be fair, and used a similar sort of principle to this. So it's about 1.5 floor pieces. That is exactly 1.5 floor pieces. So we'll just get those down so we've got a nice level surface to place the boxing ring on. Straighten out, there we go. The thing to bear in mind with this corner is that big metal door to the armory is stuck there, and there's nothing we can do to get it out of the way, so you have to make sure you get things in the right place. So one little awning over the top of this. Unfortunately, these shack walls don't snap to the barn walls, and I have to use the barn one to get the height. Otherwise it's just going to sit far too low and look very uncomfortable and claustrophobic. However, once I put a roof on there, it sits on top of that, so that's no problem. Obviously, the roof pieces are one whole piece, so they will overlap the edges of the boxing ring a little bit. That actually works out quite well. It makes the awning feel a little more complete, in my mind. The ring does need moving over a little bit there, so we're just going to group select the floor it's sat on, and the whole thing should move fine. There we go. And back into Toys Out of the Prams, Pillars and Supports mod, because that thing is basically an essential at this stage, and I don't know how I've lived without it for so long. And we'll just look for something that's tall enough to provide the support we need. Unfortunately, these are, I think I said at Jamaica Plains when I used the same ones, they're a bit spindly. I'd like something a bit more sturdy at the same size, but it is what it is. It's all I've got, so it beats floating roofs. Yeah, the others went in just fine. That one needed a little help with the rug glitch there, so you see it standing on an invisible rug. Get that lined up. There we go. One is just a little bit more temperamental. There we go. Little outdoor hand-to-hand combat training. So, no military military-esque, I should probably say. Training facility will be complete without some physical training apparatus. So, we'll start with a double row of tyres for, I have no idea what you call that actually. Running down, putting your feet in one on each tyre. You know what I mean. But, yeah. So that's what we're working on here. These tyres are actually a little large for this. And there are some mods with smaller versions of the tyres in, but they are the only one I have access to is custom vanilla assets, and the thing is, it always will be, of course, a total mess, so digging through it to try and find one specific tyre is not really what I was in the mood for. However, as we can see, it works. So what I'm doing here is sort of traditionally in most military assault courses, you see sort of low barbed wire at about roughly knee height or so that see the people training crawling underneath. Unfortunately, the barbed wire part is a bit difficult, but we can put these hitching posts in, And we'll just sink them down in a little bit and bring them to about the right height to give people something to crawl under. Yeah, looks around about right. I'm just going to repeat that with each of them. Choose group select for that. Tried to do 2 at a time there, but didn't want to play ball. I'm also using these hitching posts for now as fence posts, as you can see around the outside of this sort of partitioning off this little area. There we go. Just about high enough to crawl under, should do the job. I don't know if I'll stick with using these as fence posts, we'll see. I want to do something different, but I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with the look, so we'll see. So here we've got a double height junk wall, and the idea here being that I'm sinking it down so that it's about the right height for 2 people to climb over as a team, but difficult to do on your own, excluding of course the fact that you can just climb straight up it. So I guess it can pull double duty there. Cargo nets are sadly not an option for this, which is a bit of a travesty, but yeah, can't use what I haven't got, I suppose. So with these flat top junk walls, we're just going to sink them down a little bit, because these are intended to be climbed over rather by one individual, so hopefully they'll be high enough to make that difficult and low enough to make it possible, so that looks alright there. And as I say, we've got the tall one to work as a team on at the back as well. Yep, there you just get them placed in, make sure there's a bit of room to manoeuvre around them, and then group select to sink them down a little bit. So, over in this next corner by the workbench, I've taken the little awning off. I had to use scrap that settlement for that, but that's fine. And we're going to put some monkey bars in that are just about tall enough. Those are from the Sanctuary Playground, added by USO. Actually, they've been shifted over to the Nuka World section of the decoration tab, so they're actually kind of hard to find those these days, but they are still in there. So here, we're going to make a little balance beam. So, using twist over params, pillars and supports again, we'll sink this large post in as far as we can. I don't want it too low, so that's actually alright. And we're on custom vanilla assets here for the flat planks. So obviously those won't snap or sit, at least not at the end of their length anyway, on the top. So we'll group select it into place. Grab the next pillar and group select that in underneath, because it's much easier than trying to just guess at getting their 2 pillars the same height. There we go. And we're going to attach another one on the end there, repeating the procedure. Get that lined up, which is slightly challenging using a joystick on a controller. We get there. And repeat again down this end to support this end. I'll put a second one in down the middle there as well in a bit, but I can do that off camera because obviously it's exactly the same. And we need something to help them step up onto that, so nice little wooden crate will do the job nicely. And there we go. A little bit of decoration. We'll take a look around the more or less finished courtyard. There's a little bit more to add to it. It'll be stuff that has other functions, so a little boxing arena, boxing ring rather. I haven't decorated the armory yet. That'll probably be somewhere between between the building and the tour, I think. So, along with most of the inside of the walls, that's just decoration really, rather than any building. So, no junk decoration here. I guess they're keeping the guns neat and tidily stored in the armory where they should be. 2 safety warnings. We've got static versions of the mannequins up there. They're all added by USO. It's the standard versions just fall over left, right, and centre. So. These ones will stay where they're put. Those serve reasonably well as targets. Put a couple of the 1950s practice targets in, but those things are very finicky about whether or not they want to stand up. They seem to prefer lying down. So we'll swing back around this side, have a look at the PT areas. A little compact, but working with the space we have available. I suppose the low hitching posts there could be either crawled under or sort of jumps over as well, run along the top of, so they pull double duty as well, making the most out of what they've got. And we've got a little bit of a walkway around between the buildings as well, so not quite sure how the pathing's going to go down here, but Guess I'll keep an eye out to see what happens. There we go. So I figure they start on the right there, go along the monkey bars. No, start on the left here, go along the monkey bars left to right, and then zigzag back up and down those balance beams as well. So this was originally going to be something else that really didn't work out very well. So I decided to put kind of miniature parade ground, basically, and it's just retextured wooden foundations with that castle stone texture. Cinder block staircases, actually, rug glitched together to form that little stage at the end, and then some extra railings from USO that I need to straighten up a little bit. So we'll take a quick look around from the top and get the aerial view. Looks reasonably neat from up here. So just sort of below where we're looking here, we'll need a little bit of we'll need something putting in there, possibly some storage, something like that for food when the provisioners start bringing it in. The Minutemen are shouting at me about that quite a lot at the moment. Yeah, obviously we can't scrap that entire mountain of stuff in the corner, unfortunately, so we made use of it. And this fella here has very, very kindly shown that the little structure we've got here actually does work for pathing, which I wasn't 100% sure it would, with it being sort of manually put together. But he seems to be quite happy to walk right down the thing, and I haven't gone to any extra lengths. He's a bit janky, but it works. I'm quite happy to see. Take a little swing around this side and have a look at it from a couple of different angles. Now you can see what the observation platform on the top of the radio tower there is for keeping an eye on everybody doing their training. Yeah, simple, but it works. I like it. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, do hit those buttons for me. And do watch this space for something more. For now, thank you very much, and I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.